Roughly 6 months after I turned 18, I was able to surpass a credit score of 700. How was I able to do it? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to show you right now. So the very first thing I did was I went and applied for a secured credit card. The way a secured credit card works is that it's in essence the same as a regular credit card. The only difference is that you need to give the credit card company a security deposit that serves as collateral, because the fact of the matter is you're non-existent before the date that you're applying for the card, so you're looked down as more risky. If you're unable to pay down your balance for whatever reason, they can use that security deposit you gave them to pay down so that they don't lose a ton of money. The secured credit card that I recommend you get is the Discover It secured card. It gives you cash back on all your purchases, and at the end of your first year of having the card, it matches your cash back. So you're basically getting double cash back for doing absolutely nothing. Now, once you get the secured card in the mail, all you got to do is be a responsible spender, and then they will graduate your card after 8 months of seeing this responsible spending. Sometimes it varies a little bit, but I'll get into a little bit more detail on that in a couple of minutes. Now, to get a 700 score and to graduate my secured card, I followed these couple of rules. Make sure you always pay in full and never carry a balance. Don't do any of that minimum payment of $35 with interest nonsense. Just pay it in full before the due date. You can also go one step further and set up automatic payments. That way it's a couple of less things to worry about and you're never gonna miss your payments, and it's always going to be paid in full. The second thing is your utilization ratio. What that means, your utilization ratio, is how much of your total credit line you're spending each month. They recommend you spend 10% or less of your credit line each month. However, there's a little bit of a loophole. Now, you have two options. I stated earlier that my credit line for this secured card was $200 because that's what my security deposit was. So in my case, if I want to have a 10% utilization ratio, I would have to make payments that were $20 or less and make sure to pay it down at the end of each month. Because usually the date that your billing cycle ends, also known as the closing date, is the date that your credit card company is going to send your balance to the credit bureaus, the 3 credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. However, it differs, so make sure you double check with the credit card company. In my personal experience, I kept my utilization aggressively low. I kept it as low as 1 to 2%. That means that at the end of each month, the balance that reported on my statement would either range from $1 to $2 and nothing more than that. Now, you can do that by buying a pack of bubblegum, because bubblegum is like $1 or $2 and that'll report and then you pay it down. Or you can also spend more than that, but making sure that before the billing cycle ends, that you pay it down to that 1 to 2% sweet spot. That will help bolster your score. Basically, the lower the utilization, the better. However, you need to show some sort of activity. Don't keep it at 0%. Make sure it's at least 1%. So I followed these two rules for 6 months. I created a Credit Karma account and I checked on my account, and that's when my credit score developed, and it was at around 680. Then I did the same thing for a few more months. I got to that 8-month mark, which is when Discover decides to look at how you've been spending, how you've been paying, and your other credit activity to determine whether they're going to give you your security deposit back. And fortunately for me, they saw me as a responsible vendor and they gave me my security deposit back. Not only that, they increased my credit line almost tenfold. They also graduated my secured card. So it wasn't a secured credit card anymore. It was an unsecured card, and it was the Discover It Chrome, which basically had the same benefits and other perks. It was also at this 8-month mark where I checked my score again, and that's when it finally surpassed the 700 credit score. Now, a little note about Credit Karma: don't use Credit Karma. Use something else like Experian or get your annual credit report, because Credit Karma's scoring system isn't the scoring system that the other credit issuers use. It's not going to give you an accurate representation of the score that they're seeing when they pull your credit. Just wanted to put that out there. But regardless, it was still past 700 around that time. It was like mid-July of 2020. Now, despite my increased credit line, I continued to do the same thing, keeping the low utilization, which was a lot easier now that I had a higher credit line because it's a percentage, not a dollar amount that they base it off of. So I did that. My age of credit hit 1 year, which is also a very important metric that credit issuers look at. Once I hit that mark, I gave myself an extra month just to be safe. So 13 months in total, and I applied for my first ever Chase credit card. It was the Chase Freedom Flex. Excellent credit card all around. You can look up the benefits on your own time. 3 months later, or 3 billing statements later, I applied for the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, another great card. That one has an annual fee of $95 a year. So I hope you're seeing the pattern here. You should space everything out. It's all about making yourself look appealing in the eyes of these people that are literally giving you thousands of dollars to just spend for nothing in the hopes that you pay them back responsibly. And that plays into another rule, which is your number of inquiries. An inquiry is basically when you apply for another line of credit or a credit line increase, the issuer in question decides to pull your credit to see how it stacks up. So how long your credit history is, what your credit score is, or how often you have applied for credit, which shows up again as inquiries on your report. So make sure that when you're applying for new credit cards later down the line, that you don't do more than 2 credit cards in a short period of time. Also, don't make the mistake I made, but you've watched this video, so you're not going to. But when I first turned 18, literally a day after my birthday, I applied for 2 business credit cards. I was starting a sole proprietorship and I wanted to get a credit card to manage my cash flow. So I was savvy in that aspect, but I wasn't savvy in how credit worked. Ironic, isn't it? So that was 2 hard inquiries for nothing. I was denied for both of them because I didn't have a credit history. I just turned 18 and it was business credit. I didn't even have a personal credit score. Don't make the mistake I made. I've heard stories of people who've applied for 8 credit cards, and by the time they realized how credit worked, it was too late. So I'm just glad that I stopped at 2. That was very smart of me. But yes, whenever you apply for a credit card, that counts as a hard inquiry and it stays on your credit report for 2 years, but it only negatively affects your credit for 1 year. And don't burn through inquiries, because the more inquiries you have, the more credit needy you look when you have to go out applying for a credit or applying for a loan. But that's what I did to get my score from 0 to 700 in literally 6 months after turning 18. And you can do it as well. Not just if you just turned 18, but no matter what age you are, even if you're rebuilding your credit as well, you can still follow these steps. So I hope this video helped you in some way, shape, or form. Or if you think it could help someone else, like a family or friend, share it with them, and I'm sure it'll make a difference for them as well. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to comment, because I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe, because the last thing I want for you is to miss all my other amazing videos that I got waiting for you guys in the future. And lastly, please feel free to check out my referral links in the description. That will support me in just a teeny tiny way, this broke college student that's talking to you behind a phone camera. And I'll appreciate that very much. But all in all, guys, I hope you have a great day, have a safe week, and good luck on your credit journey.